Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how streaming sites have ruined TV, DVDs, residuals, cult classics, everything you can think about. Streaming sites have really changed the way we view things, and it has ruined modern day broadcast television. Kind of like how that guy in Florida has ruined Florida. All those women now are pissed off because their checks got cut off. But this is what happens when you, deal with something that is wrong for you. And that's kind of how streaming is. When streaming was introduced, it was an alternative. You can watch literally almost anything you want at just the click of your remote control. It's on your TV. You don't have to buy it on DVD. You don't have to put the DVD in the machine. And you don't have to worry about it scratching up. You do have to worry about paying your internet bill and when your internet signal falls out, but that's about it. And so it was very convenient. And it was literally at your fingertips. But I knew at some point in time it was gonna ruin the way we watch television and enjoy stuff. And now it sadly has. A lot of people assume that Netflix was the very first streaming site. It wasn't. I believe. Okay, technically, TV networks have always had websites that you can view only their content on. ABC had that, WB had that, but it was only their stuff. Hulu was the very first one that had, content from multiple TV networks, movies and stuff like that. And it was free. Now, some of the stuff you had to pay for, like some of the newer movies. But then came along Netflix that started off as a DVD rental place. And then Netflix decided to charge people. This caused Hulu to be like, whoa, heck, dude, why are we giving it away for free? So they started charging people. Blockbuster was the first example of things to go wrong. Blockbuster went away. Movie rental places went away. And so if you wanted to buy something on DVD, you had to literally go to a store. And you couldn't rent it no more. And because most people, they want to rent it first, see how it is, then buy it and stuff like that, right? And so, because of that, streaming mostly just started off as simply just watching older stuff. There were free streaming sites and there were ones you had to pay. Then, they started getting greedy and they started making their own content. And when they started making their own content, something happened. All these big studio names started putting in tons of money to make sure that they had good writers, actors, special effects, whatever they needed. And then those streaming shows started to outdo that of broadcast television. Not to mention that these streaming shows, you could literally binge and stuff. No longer did you have to wait till next week for the next episode to come out. Oh no, you can just watch it all in one day, the entirety of a show. And people adjusted their lifestyle to that. And there was no commercials at that time. So it was very convenient because commercials take up a lot of time and stuff. And so broadcast TV, it did good for a good couple of years and stuff. But then reality TV started to mess up with broadcast TV, which is one reason why so many shows started going to streaming. Reality TV helped kill it as well. Just like a Kardashian ruins a man's psychological profile, so does reality TV. And so then all these streaming sites started to realize something. People aren't signing up to us, or they'll only do the month trial and they'll stop. Or they'll do the month trial, wait a couple of months or a year and do the free month trial again. So then they started cracking down on that. They started to reduce their free trial. It used to be a month, now it is a week. And also, if you try to do it multiple times, they will block you and everything. Netflix is notorious for this. So is Amazon and other ones as well. And so people started to pirate, of course. But of course, they still wanted this streaming stuff. I mean, it's great babysitting stuff. All you had to do is put a kid in front of the TV, have them stream whatever they want for hours and hours and hours. And you can't really do that with pirating stuff. And so, anyways, because these shows have a much bigger budget, they're able to look more like a cinematic movie as composed to that of a broadcast television show. So you feel like you're getting much more out of it, which causes people to want to stream shows more than, want to watch a broadcast television show, and the lack of like commercials. However, to get butts into like, not so much the seats, but your butt to like, wanting to get the app a whole lot cheaper price. Now they have a bunch of ads and stuff, but it's still all right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like if you was gonna watch, like, say, like, what would you rather watch? Netflix Daredevil, which is a vigilante superhero show, or the CW Arrow show, which is another vigilante superhero type show. You'll pick Daredevil because it's a million times better and stuff. It's harder, it's grittier. They're allowed to get away with much more stuff, It's more like mature with the language and like nudity and stuff like that. A lot of these streaming shows are. And so because of that, it just started killing that of broadcast television. But then you get into something like, say, physical media. Physical media is very important. You watch something on TV, you like it, you buy it on DVD or Blu-ray. Now the problem is there is a lack of DVD types merch now, because now when you have the streaming sites, they don't want their stuff on physical media. Because if it's on physical media, you won't come back to their streaming site and watch their stuff. I love physical media. Like, I'm old school, you know what I'm saying? I save my stuff on CD disc, flash drives, whatever. But I love, hardware. I love the designs of the DVD cases. I love all the extras you get with it. I like to have that security, tucked away, I can just pop it in whenever I want, as opposed to having to like, pay for a service. I'm paying for it for life, you know what I'm saying? Or until like, it gets scratched up. Then I gotta get another one. And so with that, the problem is now that the next problem, and that is removing content that either doesn't do well or you just want it as a tax write-off. Now, there's been lots of broadcast shows that have never seen the light of day on DVD. And some of them, a good chunk end up on streaming. However, what happens when something is no longer on streaming and it was never on broadcast television? This is a problem that a lot of people are seeing now. And one of the people who started this crap is David the Devil Zaslav, when he canceled the Batgirl movie when it was nearly complete and ready to put out. This was very unheard of, and it shook like, the internet when he did that. And he was probably like the first person to ever do anything like that. Even Kevin Feige has said he has never seen anything like that before. Basically, David Zaslav didn't want the Batgirl movie. He kept complaining and saying this and saying that, saying it's just not going to be a good movie. But talking about Black Adam, the Shazam 2, and The Flash were like blockbuster great movies that could reach like $1 billion and crap. Well, all three of those movies flopped. But when it came to Batgirl, he did it as a tax write down or tax write off, whatever you want to call it. This started a trend to where other networks wanted to do the same thing, but it wasn't just that. See, when David Zaslav bought Warner Brothers, no, when he brought HBO Max, or what do you call it, he merged it with his own Discovery stuff, right? But of course, he took on the debt that the WB has been collecting for over 10 years because the DCEU just wasn't doing what they needed to do. So, in order to get money back, he sold off the Batgirl thing. It can never be put out now. But then he decided, let me delete a bunch of content. Now, streaming apps do that all the time, but they normally bring that stuff back. What this man did is that he got rid of it completely. Movies and television shows. And so other, major networks, they saw this and they're just kind of like, we can do the same thing. And so Disney Plus and Hulu, which is the same thing because Disney bought Hulu and of course took on some debt, they just straight up deleted half their inventory of stuff. And it was shocking, it was unheard of, and they really didn't let people know. They only had about 4 days to watch that stuff before it was taken down. Because of this, they were getting billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, other streaming sites are doing this as well. Paramount Plus just did this with a few of their shows, one being a Star Trek show and one being a prequel to Grease. And it's just kind of like, holy crap. Now, nobody can watch this in any way, shape, or form on the internet unless you pirate it because it's not on physical media. And because it's not on physical media, then, you can't just get your hands on it like you could in the past. Now, one reason, like I said before, this is to get money back for being in the hole. To pay off their stuff. But another reason is they don't want to pay residuals to that of the actors, the writers, the showrunners, the directors, the people who work with cameras, all kind of crap. And this is affecting a lot of celebrities now. Residuals pay a lot. Sometimes that's how some people can survive, especially former child actors and stuff. I remember there was this guy, I forget his name. He was on a show called Seventh Heaven, and he got wrapped up in the Me Too scandal, did some bad stuff to some young people. So they decided to take his show completely off TV and off streaming sites. Well, the younger cast members who were on that show, they couldn't get residuals no more, and they complained about that. And now, because see, when people were getting the residuals, it was a different contract on broadcast television. Now it's completely different for streaming. A lot of voice actors cannot make the money they used to no more because now either their cartoon show get completely scrapped, or the contract has been worked around so where they won't get paid as much residuals as they did when it was on broadcast television. And this is starting, David Zaslav started some type of domino effect and everything, where it's one thing after another is just crashing down. No physical media, no residuals, and now no cult classics. See, the thing about a lot of television shows and movies is that, say the television show comes out in the past, or say the movie came out in the past, right? It completely bombs or flops. Maybe it got 1 or 2 seasons, or maybe it did not make that much money on the theaters, and the critics just ripped it apart. Then a couple of years later, into a decade and more, people started rewatching it and they're like, you know what? This isn't that bad. And then it starts to soar. People are buying it on DVD. People are giving it good reviews. And people are saying it's a missed, understood gem of a product. You can't get that no more, because now when a television show on streaming flops and it gets canceled after one season, like that Grease on the Pink Ladies like sequel, nobody can rewatch that and be like, you know what, maybe that was a good show. Now all these like content can't like, build up a status of a fandom and everything, similar to that of a movie called Detroit Rock City. I talked about on my list, I think earlier this year or last year. Go find that video. And that movie bombed at the box office, but because of DVD sales, it became a cult classic. I watched that back when I was in college. That was over 15 years ago. Now people love the heck out of that movie. Same thing with Dude, Where's My Car? Dude, Where's My Car flopped hard. But over the decades, it has built a huge mass following. And that's only because of DVD sales and it being repeated on TV and streaming sites. Now, a lot of stuff don't have that opportunity and stuff. And it is quite a shame. And the worst part is that all these streaming sites is taking on more debt because a lot of people don't want to stay subscribed to it. And there are way, way, way too many of them. Every big television network wants their own streaming site. And they're trying to compete with one another. And when they can't compete, they have to shut down or they get bought out. And when they get bought out, they take on the debt. Which means now with this trend that David Zaslav has started, now they're getting taken off like streaming platforms and they will no longer be on physical media. You can't build a cult classic and you can't pay residuals. And this is a really, really, really bad, curse that he has brought upon streaming sites. And because, us viewers, we are the ones that are suffering, but who suffers more? The people who created that stuff. It's like to the point, Hollywood's probably not going to want to make nothing no more because now they're going to fear, well, my stuff could just get like erased and everything. And these streaming platforms, they don't put it on physical media for the creators. Like the show Dickinson, that female creator, she had to literally beg the Apple Plus people, can she have a copy of her own work? And they granted it to her. But that is the only physical copy of that show. And, it's like I said a long time ago when David Zaslav started screwing up. Who in the world is going to want to work for HBO Max? Because you will be a fool to want to, participate with them and stuff. And now they're starting to see, well, it ain't just them. It's Disney Plus, it's Paramount, CBS, it's Hulu. It's like so many other, major networks doing this now. Oh, and there's one other thing I want to mention before I sign off because I had to re-edit this video to add something in that I completely forgot to talk about. Movies. Streaming has ruined movies. So, originally, movies will come out in the movie theater and they'll make some pretty good money, you know what I'm saying? It was even to the point before the pandemic, movies were reaching $1 billion and stuff. And now the problem is that most people don't go to the movie theaters no more. Now they just wait for it to come on streaming. Recent movies like, Disney movies, Pixar, stuff like that, people know within a 2-month period the movie is going to end up on streaming. So a lot of people are kind of like, well, what's the point of me going to the movie theater, having to sit in a crowded space with people that's getting on my nerves and talking and, have their feet up on the chairs and stuff when I can just wait 2 months and then watch it at home. And a lot of movies have bombed because of that. Because especially like Warner Brother movies and all kind of movies that just hit streaming within a couple of months. And it has literally killed the market in terms of movie ticket sales and stuff. Not to mention there aren't that many TV movies getting made no more where, you can just sit at home and watch it on your TV, broadcast television. Now they direct the streaming movies and stuff. and you have to pay a fee because of that. And before it was just free to watch, and or maybe you just have like one cable bill just to pay, and that's about it. But now there's multiple streaming sites, and you're constantly paying for all those streaming sites. And so now to watch a direct the TV movie, you gotta watch it on streaming and pay that cost and everything. And it's really ridiculous how streaming has really like, just destroyed so much things that we love. And also those TV movies, these have direct to DVD movies where you had to actually buy the physical media and you put it on physical media. Now it's on streaming and it's called like direct to streaming movie. And honestly, DVDs are gonna disappear. And that's really sad because I always assumed DVDs would disappear, but I assume it would just be converted to like a flash drive. Because you know how things used to be. It was on VHS, then it was on DVD. And I thought to myself, okay, man, a flash drive probably the next logical solution. Then streaming came along and everything. And, I really miss physical media. I miss DVDs. And you don't even get a lot of the special features on streaming and stuff because they're not there. They're starting to be put there, but not a lot. And not only that, but like in credit scenes, they're missing from streaming movies and stuff. Because I watched one of the Chucky movies and they had an end credit scene, but it was completely gone on like streaming and stuff. And I had to go look for it on YouTube. Man, the way movies and TV is going to change in the next 5 years, who knows what it's going to look like. And now even reality TV has gone to streaming. Dancing with the Stars has been on ABC for like decades. And in their last season, they put it on Disney Plus. I think it might be going back to TV. I'm not 100% sure. But a lot more like, reality TVs are getting made and put on streaming. And you know how the reality TV is. That's a direct TV or that's a reality. Whatever. You know how reality TV is. It kills fictional like shows and stuff. Even though technically reality TV is fictional and scripted anyway. But still, you know what I'm saying. And this is like seriously just how like streaming is ruining everything. It started off as a great thing, but it has become a curse on viewing pleasure. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.